Hey, happy, beautiful, amazing day. Dr. Bob Rakowski here, March 30, 2020. Another COVID update. My perspective is things are unwinding beautifully. If you have a loved one that's struggling, hopefully they get the care that they need and recover. We can look at this as a gift of time or as a ticking time bomb. I'll let you guess what perspective I'm going to take on that. I like this quote from William James. He said, "To kill time is not murder, it's suicide." Why? Because our life is only time. So one of the questions might be, how can we make the best of every moment? Andy Andrews says this: "A grateful perspective brings happiness and abundance to a person's life." So if you're going to be grateful for the gift of time, awesome. For the gift of health that you have, awesome. For the medical capacity that the world has at this point in time, awesome. If you're going to look at something other than that, you might not bring happiness and abundance into your world. Here's the graph we've seen evolve over time. Again, the World Health Organization lead with China because China has played out its course. In all probability, if the world follows the same course as China, and keep in mind, the world is going to have a lot of different countries. Now, supposedly over 200 countries involved. I actually didn't even know we had 200 countries. Depends on what website you look at. But the world seems to be impacted. The global infections last couple of days down a touch, so that might be favorable. Let's look at Italy. So if Italy follows the trajectory of China, good news for Italy, because it's basically 21 days in China to peak. Now, that was 21 days from the evaluation or diagnoses of 100 cases. And so we start marching Italy forward, and they peaked somewhere around the third week of March, and the data does show that they are on the decline. New York is getting a lot of press. Why? Because New York is really ramping up fast. Now, if you look at Washington, they've had a little increase. You look at California, they've had a little increase. Why New York? Such a big amount. Most of it New York City, a very densely populated area. But if you project it out, by April 6th, if they follow the mathematical model, they should peak out. So we got about a week or so left for New Yorkers to hunker down. It's a tough crowd. They know how to live life in New York. That's my impression of them. And they're a resilient group. So I wish my friends in New York well. Fascinating when you look at the US Department of Labor. Suddenly we have about 3.3 million people out of work. That's just a temporary shutdown. But what can we do with that time while we're sitting there? Well, I like this quote. I literally had to look up the originator of it, Joseph Beuys. I hope I pronounced that right. But he said, "Every man is an artist." Christopher Walken in the movie Man on Fire said, "Some men cook, some men paint." Everybody's got their own art. So what's yours? If you're a martial artist, you can practice that. If you're a painting artist, you can practice that. If you're a writing artist, you can practice that. If you're a performing artist, you can practice that. And keep in mind, this guy lived in time frame where they identified humankind as mankind. It's really humankind. Every human is an artist, men and women. Let's make the most of this time. So we likely have about 500 hours to invest, not kill, but invest. That's a lot of time to learn something, to do something, to be something, to add value to people. I love this quote: "Life and time are the two best teachers. Life teaches us to make good use of time, and time teaches us to value life." Let's do both this week. I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, absolutely knowing that we can all be happy, healthy, and successful.